So we got some early reveals today from IGN News in relation to two new Transformer products for their R.E.D. line. And it is that of an Optimus Primal from Beast Wars and a Reformatting Megatron from the 1986 Transformers movie. Now, these two items we kind of knew about due to some early listings from Walmart about, I want to say, 4 months ago. But this is the first time we've actually gotten an opportunity to see how they look like. So let's jump into that, and then we'll get into some deeper information on how you could get this product. Now, this information comes courtesy again of IGN News, and it's also in relation to the Walmart Collector Con that is going to be happening over the next couple of days and revealing all kinds of new product. So the first one we have here is, of course, the Reformatting Megatron. This is taking the Wave 1 robot enhanced design, or R.E.D. Megatron, and giving it a clear, I guess we'll call it plastic and mold injection and brand new color scheme. Otherwise, it comes with all the same accessories like the Energon Mace, the Energon Cube, and the different hands. It's pretty nice. I dig what they're trying to go with here. I mean, there really is only like one proper pose that you could put it in that matters, and that's the reformatting pose without all the accessories. So all that stuff on the side is kind of, I guess, fluff in a lot of ways. But, I mean, it's still pretty cool. Up to this point, like, the only other real major reformatting Megatron toy that we had that was accurate to how it looked in the 86 movie was a Chase figure from the from the SCF PVC collection way back in the early 2000s. And that little Chase PVC used to go for big money. I think it was Act 3 was the Chase for it. And even that one didn't have the correct pose because it was just a repaint of a previously existing PVC figure that had no intention of being that static pose for when Megatron was reformatted into Galvatron. Otherwise, it looks pretty cool. This is one of those where, you know, when I look at it, I go, okay, I could see why people who are even not into the R.E.D. line, because it's non-transformable stuff, and I could see how people would want this one at least. Because this one, it's just a quick moment in Transformers history, but it's very iconic. And I mean, it doesn't have to transform, because even if this thing did transform, who cares about a half-grid, you know, gun mode Megatron? It's the same way how all these accessories that are included with them, while it's a nice addition, even though it's more really just a consequence of the repaint and what's on the sprue in the factory, it's something that's not really necessary for your display. I mean, no one remembers the scene where half reformatted grid Megatron is swinging his Energon Mace on top of, you know, the Sherman Dam. So again, it's cool. I dig it. But it's something that, you know, maybe when I get it, you know, when it goes on clearance, I could see myself adding that to the collection and having it in a cool, iconic pose. Speaking of iconic and awesome, and definitely a lot more interesting, a brand new mold in this case, as opposed to the Generation 1 Megatron, let's talk about the Beast Wars Optimus Primal. This is really awesome. Again, just following up from the Cheetor. The Cheetor had a very, I guess, a slightly stylistic kind of design to how the Season 1 Cheetor design was. This one really invokes much closer to how he looked in the show. It's not 100% accurate like that of the animation model, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's pretty close. And it's appealing enough to target that demographic of 90s kids that have already got back on the bandwagon because of Kingdom, because of the retro reissue of Beast Wars stuff. And now we have this. And it looks really awesome. I like that it includes his two swords. I like how they could kind of, like, in a way, be combined together to make one sword from, you know, that one time that he really did it in Season 1. I like that he has the little, I guess, wrist blasters that pop out. I guess his little prime guns that also pop out on the back. Interchangeable hands. It's really cool. I really dig it a lot. I'm curious about the little extra, I guess, little details that we're not being told about, because I know that Cheetor had a little bit of that, and so did RC from Transformers Prime of that Wave 2. So I'm really curious to see when the designers come forward and talk more about this brand new mold, what are the extra little twists and turns of detail that we didn't learn about. Again, we have Megatron. Wave 1 stuff was a little more vanilla, a little more simple, but the Wave 2 onward stuff seems to be a little more complex, and they're starting to really find their groove with the R.E.D. line. And I like what I see. I like what I see. And the same thing, even with this Primal, there's a few repaints that are kind of built in now. Again, we could have like a Burning Convoy with red, and now the new Nemesis Primal, which is a thing now because of the Worlds Collide collection. That could be a repaint, or the Rasta Primal from the Universe 1.0 line. There's a few repaints here. So you could have some fun with this mold afterwards in the secondary repaint market, if you will, and there's something else that could be done with it. So I hope that they do more. I mean, there's still stuff that was leaked on lists that we have not seen yet. I mean, there was a knockout on there. There was a few other things. So I'm really curious to see what they do with this, and of course, what's going to be happening in terms of other Transformer reveals later this week. It's going to be an interesting week. I said it before in my last segment, talking about the Studio Series stuff. It's going to be a very, very interesting week in all the reveals and stuff. And again, the Hong Kong Fans Expo, with Hasbro being there, there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to be talked about. So let me know what you think about these two guys. And I mean, let's jazz it up a bit. Who would you like to see next? Any continuity, any version, any character. You could pick one. Just one, though. Who would you like to see next for the R.E.D. line? Me personally, I want to have someone that really hasn't had a decent, accurate figure. So I'm kind of leaning on like an Alpha Trion or a Botanica, between those two. Or alternatively, it's a really good place to do a Transmutate, because Transmutate doesn't need to transform. So it's something that would be totally at home here. But I can't really pick one. Probably lean on Alpha Trion, and then if I had to lean into Beast Wars, Transmutate, or Botanica and the Beast Machines. But that's kind of how I see it. Who would you like to see? Who would you like to see? And post it below.